Welcome back to part 2 of the overall Haunted Mansion analysis. Part 2 is going to consist of talking about the melody. For reference, this is the score that I'm going to be showing you today, just bits and pieces of it when we dive into that melody. So let me recap what we talked about in the last video about the melody. We started by talking about the theme. This theme starts out in the bass. It's only 6 measures long. And then it's passed around throughout the rest of the work in 2 different ways, which we'll look at in a few minutes. The theme starts out in A minor. And here is how it sounds, starting with the bass line. I know it's written in treble clef, but I'll play it in the bass. So in the last video, we talked about the intervals that are present here. It makes it sound a little spooky because we have that dissonant major 7th. Usually in a melody, in classical music, we want to stick within a major 6th, which is more consonant. Anything above a major 6 is very dissonant and it's harder to sing or play. And we also have that tritone, that infamous tritone. That is one of our most dissonant intervals. So dissonance in general contributes to the overall uneasiness. We also briefly touched on the chords and how they're represented in the melody for the first 2 measures. Following these 2 measures where we do have the chords outlined in a way, just 2 notes, then we get those intervals, the dissonant intervals. So it's basically broken up into 3 parts. We have chords or highlights of chords. We have dissonant intervals, dissonants as I like to say. And then we have our closing part, which is the sol, fa, mi, re, do. Ran out of room. So, fa, mi, re, do. Sol, fa, mi, re, do, or if you're not sure, it's me, re, do. If you're not sure about that and you're not good on solfege just yet, 5, scale degree 4, 3, 2, 1. That is a great way of confirming a key and really feeling like we're in that key of A minor. Also a great way to get into any kind of cadence, probably here, or most likely it's here. Like with a PAC, depending on what you have in your harmonies, perfect authentic cadence, which is great to close on, or we can continue to something else after that. So let's look at the score, and I'm going to keep the main theme at the top. Where this score starts is actually at the second half of the ride. The first half is a little bit more dramatic, more like what I played, basic like the main theme here. And the second half is more playful and fun. So there's a lot more going on if you're actually on the ride. So that's where this starts, right here. A little bit faster tempo, bright 2 beat. It sounds very 60s at this point. Kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo. So now that bass line melody is in the voice. We have lyrics now. And here's how that would sound. So that general sound is still there from the main theme, but we can definitely see some rhythmic changes. First of all, we have that pickup note, E to A, where the main theme starts here. And then we have a little bit more going on instead of just holding out notes like we did here with quarter notes. We're expanding it a little bit more, adding in a little 8th notes here to drive it a little bit more. But we still have the same notes, A, E, D sharp, B. And then we start over again, A, C, D, B flat. So the same general theme is there. There's even some syncopation that's been added here to that dissonant interval of the major seventh. And we have a dotted rhythm that's holding that A here going down to the tritone, the E flat. We also have this octave-ish leap. It's not quite an octave because we're starting with E flat, but we leap up to the E natural, where here we were just right next to it by a semitone. And of course, we still end with that sol fa mi re do, the 5 4 3 2 1, and we hold that A for about 6 beats before we get the pickups into the next part of that theme. The second variation of this theme starts down here, and we do have those E pickups going into A, but everything's a little bit more drawn out. Kind of closer to the theme here. We're very consistent with the rhythms, and here we're drawn out a little bit longer. Compared to the first variation of the theme though, this one's way faster. We get through it faster. A, E. We have A, E. So it takes 2 measures to get that interval across, that perfect fifth. Whereas at the very beginning, it's faster. It goes through that cycle in 1 measure. And just for copyright purposes, I'm only going to show you that first page because that is what's free online if you were to look it up. But if you want to look into it a little bit more, I think it's only like $2.99, $5.99 if you want the PDF online. And I got mine from Music Notes. So that's a little bit more of an in-depth look at the melody for Grim Grinning Ghost from the Haunted Mansion Ride. It's based on this 6-bar theme that starts in that low bass with the organ. And then it's altered 2 different ways, variation 1, variation 2 down here when we get to the second half of the ride. Also interesting to note, we talked about this briefly last time, but the key areas, the key scheme, we go from A minor to B flat minor to B minor, all separated by a semitone. The same 2 variations that you found in A minor are transposed and occur in B flat minor and then occur in B minor as well. So I hope you learned something from this video or found it interesting. Stay tuned for the harmony video. It's going to be wild. So that'll be the next video in this series, part 3. It may end up being 2. We'll see how long it goes. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back again.